Hello everyone, welcome to Lunar Tales. Today we're bringing you a story about how discovering your own strengths and practicing with dedication can lead you to success. It's a tale that reminds us that we all have unique talents, and with the right mindset, we can excel in anything we set our minds to. Along the way, we'll also learn some new words and how to use them in sentences to improve our English in a fun and simple way. So stay with us till the end. Once, in a small, peaceful town, there lived a family in a quiet corner of the city. This family had a 12-year-old boy named Peter, who was in the 6th grade. Peter was an energetic kid who loved playing outdoors. His favorite activity was playing soccer. Almost every day, Peter would head out to the nearby public field where he practiced and sharpened his skills. One afternoon, after coming home from school, Peter slumped onto the couch, looking deep in thought. He opened a school book, stared at it for a moment, and then leaned back into the soft cushions with a dissatisfied look on his face. His father, who had just come in from the backyard, noticed this unusual behavior and walked over to his son. Sitting beside Peter, he gently asked, "What is bothering you?" Peter explained that he had received a poor grade in math, but that wasn't what was truly upsetting him. He shared that his close friend and neighbor, Matt, always seemed to score high in math. No matter how hard Peter tried, he just couldn't seem to do as well. Hearing this, Peter's father went to get a glass of water to calm his son. Once Peter had relaxed a bit, his father took him outside to their small backyard garden, filled with shady trees and a peaceful atmosphere. "Peter," his father began softly, "I want you to understand 3 important lessons from what happened today. These are lessons that will guide you as you grow older." Peter, who deeply respected his father, felt confused but intrigued. "Can you explain those lessons, Dad?" he asked. "You will learn each lesson, one by one, through a challenge I will give you," his father replied, with a gentle smile. After a brief pause, his father continued, "For the first lesson, I want you to invite Matt to play soccer with you tomorrow." Peter nodded, eager to discover what lesson his father had in mind. The next morning, the weather was bright and welcoming. Peter went to school with his usual excitement. That afternoon, after school, he invited Matt to join him for a soccer game at the nearby field. As usual, Peter, who played soccer almost every day, dominated the match. He scored 3 goals, leading his team to a big victory. Meanwhile, Matt, who wasn't very familiar with soccer, struggled. He often lost the ball and made several mistakes. Despite this, everyone had a great time. Afterward, Peter cleaned up and hurried home to meet his father in the backyard. "Dad, I played soccer with Matt today. What's the first lesson you want to teach me?" His father smiled knowingly and said, "Tell me how the game went." Peter described everything, from his 3 goals to how Matt struggled at soccer. His father nodded and said calmly, "Look at this, Peter. Matt may not be good at soccer, but he's great at math. Just like you might struggle with math, but excel at soccer. We are all different, and that's perfectly okay. We each have our own strengths and passions." Peter felt a wave of understanding wash over him. He realized people are different, and they don't have to be the same. Curious as always, he immediately asked about the second lesson. "For the second lesson," his father said, "I want you to pay close attention to Matt tomorrow at school. Keep track of how often you see him counting or working with numbers. The following day, Peter eagerly went to school, excited to complete his father's challenge. Throughout the day, he quietly observed Matt, noticing how often he was engaged in math-related tasks. After school, Peter played soccer again until his father returned home. That evening, Peter approached him and shared his findings.
Dad, Matt was counting a lot today. He was solving math problems, working on puzzles, even calculating small things during recess. He even counted the petals on a flower.
His father smiled warmly and said, "That's the second lesson, Peter. Matt is good at math because he enjoys it and practices it often. If you want to get better at something, you have to keep practicing, just like you do with soccer. It doesn't always have to be difficult. You can start with simple things, like counting petals on a flower." Peter smiled, realizing something important. He could improve in anything as long as he practiced consistently. Without waiting, he eagerly asked,
"What's the third lesson, Dad?"
His father thought for a moment and said, "For the last lesson, I want you to think about how much better Matt is at math compared to you." Peter paused, then replied, "I think Matt is about 3 times better at math than I am." "All right," his father said. "For the final challenge, I want you to study math 3 times harder tomorrow." Peter swallowed nervously, but nodded. He was determined to try. The next day, after school, Peter sat down to study math. After 1 hour of intense focus, he pushed himself to study 2 more hours. But before he could finish, his head began to ache, and without realizing it, he fell asleep. Later, he was gently woken by his father's soft voice. "Wake up. It's time for dinner. Meet me in the garden afterward." Feeling disappointed, Peter met his father, his head hanging low. "I'm sorry, Dad. I couldn't complete the challenge. I studied so much that my head hurt, and I fell asleep." His father gently patted his head and said softly, "Peter, this is what happens when you try to master something you don't enjoy. It becomes hard to stay disciplined and consistent. But when you study something you love, discipline and consistency feel much lighter. Just like how you stay dedicated to playing soccer." After a brief silence, his father gave him the final piece of advice. "So if you want to be smart and become an expert at something, either study what you love or learn to love what you're studying." Peter, filled with admiration for his father's wisdom, promised to carry these 3 lessons for the rest of his life. Today, we learned new words and sentences through this story. Remember, learning English can be fun when you practice regularly. So keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. Make sure to like, comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning together.